At level 1, we got your typical new and clueless immigrant. So at this level, you probably just moved to Australia, and you're probably on a student visa. You probably live in Sydney or Melbourne, and the first thing you notice is that Australia is real and definitely not upside down. You also realize that there aren't snakes and spiders everywhere, and that the country isn't just a desert. Well, the middle of Australia actually is. But anyways, you also notice that Australia actually has some decent infrastructure. In fact, you're looking impressed by the buildings, and the healthcare system, education, and the minimum wage is probably better than your home country. You also find that people don't go around saying Aussie, 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 oi, 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 and put the shrimp on the barbie. You find Aussie English hard to understand, and it sometimes feels like a completely different dialect to you. But you carry on, even though you don't fully fit here. Well, at least people are nice here and call you mate, which feels good. But then there are protests against your kind as well. It's sort of a double-edged sword. If you're at level 2, you're probably an immigrant that has settled in a bit. At this level, Australian is in full gibberish to you, but you're still getting a hang of it. You've started using the right spellings at least. You spell things with a U in words like colour and favourite, R and E in words like centre and leader, and S in words like analyze and specialize. You have also begun to correct your vocab. You start calling that black liquid that goes in your car petrol, and those long potato things that are fried chips. And the game that is played with a ball and feet, soccer, and the game that is played with an egg, hands and feet, footy. At this stage, you also try Aussie favourites like Tim Tams, Lamingtons, meat pies, and even the notorious Vegemite. Everything is pretty good, but you can't understand how anyone can like Vegemite. And if you're at this level, you probably also give footy and cricket a go, but the rules are too hard for you to understand. Level 3. At this stage, you're someone who fits into Australian culture. You probably even have a citizenship or something. You realize that your accent has become more Australian, and you have subliminally incorporated more and more Aussie slangs. You say things like arvo, chook, macas, and when you're feeling brave, you even say things like mate, g'day, and cheers sometimes. At this stage, you also realize that Hungry Jack's is just Burger King, but just much better, and also that you would never be able to buy a house in this country. After living here for a while, you're finally able to see the negatives too. Inflation is sky high, and it kinda annoys you how things have worsened, especially when you hear about free education in the 70s. This makes you get more involved in politics, and you joke about making Australia a republic. Level 4. At this stage, you develop an irrational hatred for cyclists. Every time you see one, your mood is ruined. And if you're at this level, you also start hating the hectic life in Sydney and Melbourne. You've got an Aussie soul now. You just want to relax and crack open a cold one with the boys. So you move to a much more relaxed, sunny Perth, or somewhere in Queensland or South Australia. But you're still not crazy enough to move to NT, Tassie, or God forbid, Canberra. And now you've started calling your enemies and your friends the C word. Level 5. If you are at this level, you know a lot about Aussie cultural icons like Ned Kelly, the Snowtown Killers, Shane Warne, James Cook, and of course Steve Irwin. Just talking about these people brings you a sense of nostalgia. And at this level, you're probably a born and bred Aussie. You love bunning snags, and you remember things like Prank Patrol and Good Game Spawn Point. You also remember toffee apples being randomly placed in the fresh fruit section at supermarkets and making lunch orders in primary school. And you remember having chocolate mud cake from Woolies and colds on every single one of your birthdays because you weren't posh enough to go to the cheesecake shop. And come on, you definitely got bullied for bringing a golden gay time to primary school. You remember getting a pen license in primary school as your biggest achievement, and you're too relaxed to try to achieve more. Also some honorable mentions at this level: the S-shape. You're a spoiled Aussie teen. You think you're a gangster, but you can't even scare a child. The only place you're a menace is the Centrelink office, and that's only because you're an annoying leech, stealing thousands of taxpayer dollars. You wear all black, have a mullet, and wear Nike trainers. You probably even keep a pocket knife and smoke ciggies, but you don't look hard, and you try to show off by chugging VBs with your mates on a park bench, and you get pissed on 2 drinks. The Aussie private school college kid. You either go to Uni New South Wales, Monash, Melbourne, or Sydney Uni. You wear a black Kathmandu goose jacket and sandals or Iron Williams. You love footy, and you exclusively drink Golden Oaks and Rivets, and you're too spoiled. Level 6. If you're at this level, you're probably a true blue Australian. You live in NT or Tasmania, or God forbid, Central Australia. You're very tan from never being inside or using sunscreen, and you exclusively wear thongs and work boots, and don't have a clue what the internet is. You probably have a very demanding physical job in manual labor, mining, or some sort of trade, so I won't expect you even have time for the internet. You definitely day drink whenever and wherever you can, and you have funny stickers on your pickup truck. You also spend a lot of time at the pokies, And you talk like this, I would imagine.
Hey, mate, how you going, mate? Yeah, good to have you down here. Yeah, fine, everything all right? Bit of a day for it, a couple of bit long in the morning. Never went astray, mate. Help yourself to the fridge, eh?
At this stage, Vegemite becomes a staple of your breakfast. You spread a thin layer of it on a piece of hot buttered toast. Level 7. You're an Aboriginal.